Welcome back to Let's Play Miles Edgeworth Investigations. I'm Leader of 64D. And just last time, we figured out who the killer was. Agent Lang. Lang Z says, little cubs, never do they know the real fury of the elder wolves. Those quotes are definitely becoming increasingly difficult to decipher. And what does that mean? It means that you'll never really know how angry I can get. Mr. Prosecutor, the counterfeit bills made with Ablaze ink. They were all of Zangfa dominations. Yes, so I heard from Miss Von Karma. But we don't know where the play money has gone. They must not have figured out what it was that all burned yet. Ever since those things showed up in circulation, my country's economy had taken a big hit. Zangfa is in financial chaos as we speak. Because we can't tell the difference between our own bills and the fakes. But it's not just the money. The citizens are also worried. I've staked the honor of the House of Lang on this. And I've come to this land to capture the mastermind behind this whole mess. I investigated how the bills were made and how the ink was smuggled into Zangfa. And I pursued the smuggling ring all the way here. But tonight, this is where the final chapter was written. Despite my frantic efforts to chase the smuggler down, someone got to him first. And now I'm called to return home without a single answer. Agent Lang, Don't start! It's not your fault. It's not anyone's fault, Mr. Prosecutor. Ambassador Alba, I'm sorry for all the trouble today. Oh, no. It is I who should apologize. It was all because I was not strong enough. If only I was able to think of a better solution. Curses, you fool! Curse your empty brain! You're being too hard on yourself, Ambassador. I take full responsibility for tonight. End of story. Sheena, let's go. Time to return to our den. Yes. I don't like to admit it, but that's not much for us to do, but to go home as well. Agent Lang, a moment! You Wolfman security lady! Hold it! Objection, pal! Detective Gumshoe! Have you got the results of the handwriting analysis yet? Yep, and that note was definitely what Mr. Cogent's there. Huh. Just as I thought. Good work, Detective. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor. How long do you intend to hold us up for? Sorry to have made you wait, but I believe that now everyone is finally here. Agent Sheena, I'd like to ask you something, if you don't mind. Yes? How exactly did you fail to see the Takarasu when you were in the neighboring room to where Mr. Kochin was killed? I'd like you to explain that to us. What? Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, what are you doing asking her to something like she didn't see? Agent Lang hasn't touched the Babal investigation at all. So I suppose I will need to explain a few things to him first. Miles Edgeworth, I can't even begin to imagine what's going on in that head of yours. The only thing going on in my head is the pursuit of the truth. Oh, it sounds like you have some sort of plan. Very well, I'll supervise you until the end. Is she seriously going to treat me like a subordinate for the rest of the day? You're not trying to pick a fight with my subordinate on a flimsy guess, are you? I'm not trying to pick a fight, and the evidence is hardly flimsy, as you'll see. I should have known that you and I are destined to fight it out to the very end. It would appear that way. Well, I'll prove her innocence, so let's see what you got, Prosecutor Edgeworth. With pleasure. For my opening argument, I'll discuss the Atagarasu that appeared in Babal, and establish exactly who it was that Kay saw. Agent Lang, I assume you've been briefed on Kay's testimony? You mean this suspicious person in a coat that she saw? That's right. That person is one of the keys to solving this case. The person who pretended to be Takarasu. Pretended? And what do you mean by that? I'll get to that in a second. But first, I want to review what this person Kay saw did. Kay, if you could please explain what the person you were chasing did for us? Oh, you got it! Respond suspicious person at the open-air stage of the Ablaze side. I called the person, but as soon as I did, the person ran off. I thought it was rather suspicious, so I immediately gave chase. For the sake of argument, let's call this suspicious person the Yatagarasu. Now please, tell us what happened when you chased the Yatagarasu up to the 3rd floor. Can do! I chased the Yatagarasu all the way to the 3rd floor of the Ablaze embassy. I was pretty straight chase down the hallway until the sudden turn. The Yatagarasu disappeared around the corner, so I did my best to catch up. When I turned the corner, I saw the Yatagarasu run into Mr. Koten's office. I gave chase and ran to the room. But when I entered the room, it was pitch black. I couldn't see a thing. I felt something on the ground next to my foot, so I turned on the light, but then... Ah! Who's there? By the time I had turned on the lights, the Yatagarasu had disappeared. When Kay entered the room, the person she was chasing was already gone. Why do you suppose that was, Agent Lang? What do you mean, why do you suppose? Isn't it obvious? The person slipped out through the door behind the girl under the cover of the darkness. Sorry, but I know for a fact that the person didn't escape through that door. Oh? And how do you know that with such certainty? That's easy. If the Yatagarasu had left through the door, they would have run right into this person. Take that. Your answer is Sheena? Yes, because let's consider what would have happened if the Yatagarasu had used the door. When Kay screamed upon discovering Mr. Koten's body, the Yatagarasu would have run into Agent Sheena, who was in the next room over. Ugh. Agent Sheena, would you mind telling us if you saw the suspicious person in question? No, I didn't see anyone. You see? Therefore, the Yatagarasu could not have escaped through the door. It just means the creep slipped out before Sheena made it to the hallway. Objection! I doubt that, as there was another person in the hallway. A certain detective. Detective Gumshoe, where were you exactly at that time? Me, sir? Well, when I heard Kay's scream. I ran towards Mr. Koten's office in the opposite direction of Agent Sheena, sir. So, Agent Lang, can you explain how someone could elude both of them? Even you must concede that under these circumstances, the door was not a viable route. Way to go, Mr. Edgeworth! Nailed him with just an explanation of what happened! Yes, I've eliminated one of the possible escape routes for that room. But this is far from over. I need to make Agent Lang aware as well of yet another possible escape route the Yatagarasu could have taken. I get it. So that's what you're trying to show me. Mr. Prosecutor, let me guess. This is what you're trying to say, right? Because the door was not a viable escape route, then there must have been another way out. Precisely. Mr. Edgeworth, time to bust out the revolving fireplace wall explanation, right? No, not quite yet. Huh? But why? I thought this would have been the perfect time. The revolving wall on the Ablaze side is known only but to 4 people. And if we use this information unwisely, the truth may escape us in the end. What's this all whispering over there? Scared I'll figure out your tactics? Nothing of the sort, Agent Lang. Come, let's continue where we left off. That smug, haughty attitude of yours. You really rubbed me the wrong way, you know that? Well, no matter. I figured you out already anyway. The only other possible escape route besides the door is the room's lone wall. The window. Since that eerie picture of said escape route exists. You saying that photo captures the moment of the Yatagarasu's escape? I guess Detective Bad must have filled him in on this photo. I have to admit at first, I thought the window was a possible escape route as well. However, I now know that that is impossible. Now I realize you may not know this, but humans can't fly. Ugh. Of course I know that! That's bloody common sense! Besides, I never said I thought that photo to be the Yatagarasu's escape route. I suppose not. Alright, then explain yourself. The shadow in this photo is not the Yatagarasu that Kay was chasing after. You can say whatever you'd like in whatever language you'd want, but there's only one language I really understand, the language of evidence. Very well then. I present to you proof that the person Kay saw was not the same one in the photo. Well, there's a couple things. First off, that photo is so weird. Let's see. If I should be obvious because of the mere basis of facts. Let me explain to you precisely why the shadow in this photo is not the Yatagarasu Kay saw. Kay spotted the Yatagarasu heading to the 3rd floor during the 2nd fire. However, the photo in question was taken just after the 1st fire. Yeah, way to go! It's twice you bit him in the butt now. We're not done yet! You still have to explain what that shadow is, and how the Yatagarasu escaped. I don't suppose you can answer both, can you? Regarding the photo, I admit that we don't understand what it means quite yet. Just as I thought. However, the Yatagarasu's escape route? Now that I can answer. You can? Well, Mr. Prosecutor, go on, enlighten me. Even if I explain it, you'll try to find some flaw with what I have to say. You were busy heading up the Alabastion investigation, correct? In that case, I doubt you'd have much knowledge of the Ablaze side of the case. So wouldn't it be best if that lead on that side, Agent Sheena, explained in my stead? Sheena's my subordinate. If I stick up for her, how can I look in the eye and call myself her boss? Lang, it's alright. I can take care of him. Sheena, you shielded me a lot as my boss. But it's time for me to prove my worth. Alright. You okay with it? Then you have my support. Finally, it's down to just Agent Sheena and myself. This is where the battle really begins. Now then, what is it you'd like to ask? Let's see. Why don't we start with your movements inside the Ablaze embassy? During the first Ablaze fire, I assisted in putting out the fire. During the second fire, I was searching for the Yatagarasu that had appeared in Babal. While I was searching, I heard a scream coming from the next room over. Although I was in the next room, I was unable to catch a glimpse of the Yatagarasu. To be honest, I'm actually very skeptical of the girl's Yatagarasu even exists. That's all I have to say. I'm not lying when I say I saw a suspicious person run into Mr. Kochin's office. Like I said earlier, I have no intention of retracting my testimony. Good. Just to confirm, did you have a partner when you were on your investigation? No, I moved alone. In that case, you have no one to corroborate your alibi. Is that correct? Are you calling her suspicious because she was in a room by herself? Pathetic! And it wasn't when Agent Sheena tried to arrest Kay under the same rationale? And how about when you accused Larry because he was the weapon's owner? Not that it's unexpected from the useless lump to get into such a situation. Although I suppose it's not a good idea to let mistakes go uncorrected. I will not make no excuse for what I did in that situation. You should apologize right now for making Kay out to be the killer, Prel. I'm sorry. Sheena, apologize. I am sorry. Really? It's okay. I mean, I'm not under suspicion anymore. Right, Mr. Edgeworth? I never doubted you. Not for 1 second. And the same goes for me. I believe in Sheena. Then let's put that to the test and see if she really is worthy of your trust. This promises to be interesting. During the first Ablaze fire, I admitted to putting out the fire. I assisted in putting out the fire.
Hold it.
So you helped with the fire extinguishing effort? I was in charge of the police of the Ablaze side, so I helped them with their work. Police doing the job of firemen. You really know how to work people. She sure does. That's because she's one awesome woman who knows how to manage. I guess so. She always bringing in a business card or a scroll at the right time. To prepare everything before I'm ordered to. That is the definition of a secretary. She kind of seems more capable than Agent Lang, doesn't she? At the very least, she's certainly more capable than you, Detective. Ugh. I kinda had a feeling you were going to say that. You walked right into it. She has more than just a capable secretary, you know. Sheena, tell them what other things you're good at. Alright. During the second fire, I was searching for the Yatagarasu that had appeared in Babal.
Hold it.
By the second fire, you mean the one that consumed the third floor Babal, correct? Yes. That was when the suspicious person was spotted in Babal. You were after the same person in the long coat that I was after. Hold it. There is no proof that the suspicious person was really the Yatagarasu. Because no one was able to get a good look at the person's face. By the way, how was your team's investigation? In order to extinguish the fire, water is pumped into the third floor via the windows. So the majority of the investigators conducted their searches on the other floors. Maybe they did, but there was one person who was wandering around lost on the third floor. When the fire was pretty much out, I moved to investigate the third floor. And you did that alone? Yes. While I was searching, I heard a scream coming from the next room over.
Hold it.
So you're in the room next to Mr. Cochin's office. I already told you I was earlier, as I was examining the neighboring room. I heard the girl's shrill scream. And upon hearing her, I immediately ran towards Mr. Cochin's office. Wherein you proceeded to arrest her, as I recall. Yes, I did. But she was totally innocent, pal! I thought we already cleared that up! And I thought I had already apologized for my behavior. Now the tenacious detective would be so kind as to be quiet. Ugh! I have to agree, right now is not the time to take issue with that. Oh, not you too, Mr. Edgeworth. But what I do take issue with is the fact that you didn't see the Yatagarasu, Agent Sheena. The prosecutors of this country are all so strange. Although I was in the next room, I was unable to catch a glimpse of the Yatagarasu.
Hold it.
You were unable to catch even a glimpse, despite being in the next room. Is that true? I really hate to repeat myself. I'm sorry for inconveniencing you. However, I simply wish to make sure that you are not misremembering something. We wouldn't want you to be accused of lying later on, would we? And Mr. Prosecutor, are you calling Sheena's testimony a lie? Agent Lang, I'm talking with Agent Sheena right now. So I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't interrupt us with superfluous comments. Oh, you know, I feel kind of bad for him. I understand his pain at watching one of his subordinates being accused. However, I cannot turn my eyes from the truth. Lang, I'm alright. As for you, I think you should be focusing your doubts on that girl rather than me. And why is that? To be honest, I'm actually very skeptical of the girl's Yatagarasu even exists.
Hold it.
Are you throwing Kay's words into doubt again? Well, she does claim to be the Yatagarasu, right? And she did try to chase down the Yatagarasu, despite being just an average citizen. Actually, she came here with the goal of capturing the fake Yatagarasu. That's right, which is why I never lie about anything related to Yatagarasu. I suppose you have proof of that somewhere? Not quite, but even without any, I have people who believe in me. That's enough. I see. Kay's testimony is without flaw, but as for yours... Well, let's just say that I find your testimony to be a bit suspicious. There seems to be a very large flaw in her testimony. Oh, then why don't you show us what we found out using Little Thief? I will, in due time. The escape route of the Yatagarasu that Kay was in pursuit of. It turns out it really does lead right to Agent Sheena. What is that? What is it that she's keeping from us right now? Didn't catch a single glimpse. Didn't hear anything, see anything.
Objection!
Being in the room next to Mr. Cochin's office is the problem with your testimony.
Not so fast!
Mr. Prosecutor, I don't see what problem you're talking about at all. Agent Lang, do you recall the secret we discussed in the Alabastian office fireplace? Huh? Oh, you mean how it connects to the office with the room next door? What about it? Well, Alabast isn't the only country with secret connecting fireplaces. What? The fireplace in Mr. Cochin's office holds the exact same secret. What? Yatagarasu didn't escape through the door to the room, or the window. The escape route was through the revolving fireplace wall in the next room over. Now do you see? If Yatagarasu had escaped to the next room, then the thief would have ran straight into the Agent Sheena. Meaning that it's impossible for her to have missed the Yatagarasu! What is the meaning of this, Miles? Well, would you care to explain, Agent Sheena? How did you manage to completely miss the fleeing Yatagarasu? Or shall I? Your claim that you were in the next room was a lie all along, wasn't it? The truth is, you were the one Kay saw in the coat. Pretending to be the Yatagarasu, and you were the one she chased after. As you tried to lose her, you ran to Mr. Cochin's office and headed to the fireplace. Then you shed your coat in the next room, leaving it there to emerge as Agent Sheena. After that, you came back around the place to place Kay under arrest. Does that sound about right? If not, then speak now or forever hold your peace. How dare you make Kay look like the bad guy when you're the suspicious one, pal! Sheena? That laugh. I remember this irritating laugh. Ugh, I'm getting chills down my spine. It can't be. But it has to be. Sheena, what's wrong with you? I'm sorry. You're so funny, I couldn't help but laugh. Funny, you say? Yes, that you'd accuse me of being the Yatagarasu. The prosecutors of this country really are all so very strange. Do you think you can get away with this by simply laughing it off? You think I'm taking things too lightly? I think not. It's this prosecutor who is. Look, everything you said earlier is nothing more than mere speculation. The Yatagarasu fled through the fireplace? You have any proof to back up that claim? If you don't, then you haven't proven a thing regarding the Yatagarasu's escape route. The tone of that voice you're taking with me now has certainly changed. That's because it's been a while since I've had this much fun. I think I'll let loose and then we can have a real battle of wits. For an agent of Interpol to show me the true power of her mind, it is a great honor. Don't underestimate me. I'm not some foolish broad, you know. I know. That is why I won't hold anything back either as I answer your questions. My question. Here is your proof that the revolving fireplace wall was recently used. Poleno's testimony.
Take that!
I'm sorry, but this is really my honest answer to my question? Yes, according to Ambassador Poleno's testimony. He said there was burning some documents in the fireplace with Mr. Cochin. Oh? The ashes of what they burned were left in the fireplace, so they should have been there. However, when we went to investigate the room, the ashes weren't there. Why is that a problem? Maybe someone cleaned them up?
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, Ambassador Polino said that he forgot to. And so the question remains, why were the ashes missing? The answer is simple. When the Yatagarasu went through the fireplace wall, the ashes were pushed into this room by the wall as well! The movements of the ashes were in Mr. Cochin's office is my proof! And just what is so funny? Ashes proof? Are you even allowed to submit such flaky evidence in court? Still wish to fight us? Of course, why wouldn't I? In that case, let's hear your counter-argument. My counter-argument, huh? This really is just like being in court. Well, to me, we're simply continuing from where we left off all those years ago. I have no idea what you're talking about. It doesn't matter if we're at the crime scene or in court. Let's finish this here and now. I suppose. I've had a lot of fun today, but I grow weary of this game of cat and mouse. Let's make this the last testimony and wrap this up. This absurd case, once and for all. In my eyes, all you've proved is that the rotating fireplace wall was used. But you can't really call that proof that the Yatagarasu used the fireplace, now can you? So then, who was it that used the rotating wall? Show me your answer with real evidence. Remember, we've already finished a very thorough investigation. And we found not a single suspicious thing in Mr. Cochin's office. And there you have it. My counter-argument. Ugh! That's very impressive. She has seen through to the fact that I've yet to gather the one piece of evidence. What is it, Kay? I haven't had a peep out of you in quite a while now. If you don't think you can handle it, feel free to leave the rest of us to us. But Kay, pull yourself together. You are the true heir to the Yatagarasu name, are you not? If you want to steal the truth, you must never take your eyes off of it. The chase you're running to catch the truth, you must see it through to the very end. Mr. Edgeworth, you're right. I will see this through to the end. So, you go get her for me, Mr. Edgeworth. With pleasure. Looks like the lack of evidence has left you wide open, doesn't it? Sheena, please. Show me you're someone I can trust. Don't worry. This will be the deciding match. You'll see. I'm truly sorry, Agent Lang, but I simply cannot allow her to escape me again. Very well then, Agent Sheena. Shall we begin? I'm ready whenever you are. In my eyes, all you've proved is that the rotating fireplace wall was used.
Hold it!
It sounds to me like you're saying my explanation is not good enough. I was able to go through the revolving door myself. There should be proof enough, even you, pal. It looks like you don't quite understand. But by your looks, I can guess you're not all that learned. Ah! Talk about rude. You should watch what you say, pal. Sadly, I can't say I disagree with her on that one. But you know what I mean, right? You may have proven that the fireplace was used. But you can't really call that proof that Yatagarasu used the fireplace, now can you?
Hold it!
So you want proof that Yatagarasu was the one who used the fireplace? That's right. Well, do you have any? Can you prove that it wasn't Yatagarasu who used the fireplace? I don't need to prove anything to you. Oh, objection! Hold it! Kay, if you could please not steal my line. Sorry. I just couldn't hold it in anymore. Well, don't fret and leave her to me. All you have to do is sit back and watch. You may seem to have some wiggle room, but without any evidence, it's meaningless. So then, who was it that used the rotating wall? Show me your answer with real evidence.
Hold it!
It's possible that the Yatagarasu left fingerprints inside the fireplace. Sorry, but I had the forensics team check that already. All they found were prints belonging to Ambassador Polino and Mr. Cochin. Ah, curses! I should have known better than to think the Autograss would have been so careless. But there must be some sort of evidence that we still have yet to find. I take it you have no further objections? Remember, we've already finished our very thorough investigation.
Hold it.
So Interpol had finished examining the entire Ablaze embassy? Yes. The investigators who weren't allowed in Ablaze were incredibly helpful. They all put in great efforts to search for any sign of the Yatagarasu.
Objection!
And yet, despite all that effort, it appears that they failed to notice the lack of ash in the office fireplace. Furthermore, you were the one who inspected the room next to Mr. Coton's, correct? I didn't notice the ash there in the fireplace in that room, and for that, I am sorry. You don't need to apologize, Sheena. As your boss, your mistakes are my mistakes. So allow me to apologize for you. I am sorry. You know, maybe this guy's not a bad guy after all. He apologizes for his subordinate and everything. Great boss. Are you saying that I don't do anything for my subordinates? No, nothing of the sort, sir. You're someone I really respect, sir, even if you are a bit too strict sometimes. That is only a problem on your end. Wow, way to be super hard on him in response. Am I really too strict on everyone? Anyway, Sheena, you didn't find anything in Mr. Coton's office, right? That's right. We finished our investigation. And we found not a single suspicious thing in Mr. Coton's office.
Hold it.
So you really didn't find anything? Yes, as I said, not one suspicious thing. Although, as you already know, we did find the Yatagarasu key and the documents detailing the smuggling operation. But we still haven't found a blade that belongs to the Ablaze knife you handle yet. Ha! You see? My subordinates worked hard to investigate everything. So there was nothing else to find, right? Aisha Lynx really sticks up for his people. Longzi says, all men are brothers, and friends become family. So you see, my people are my family, and their families are my family too. That's a rather large family you have there. Yes, but as we all know, there's always one black sheep in the family. And though it pains me, Agent Lang, you will know the black sheep in your family. That's an odd thing to stress. So you really don't have... Do you actually have any proof the Yatagarasu used the fireplace passageway? I haven't found any yet. Then what are we going to do? There's no need to worry. Because there is a loophole in Mr. Interpol's agent's argument that we can exploit first. The one in charge of the Ablaze investigation was not Agent Lang. Which means that with Agent Sheena in charge, it's possible she may have tampered with the evidence. A piece of evidence that we found. If there was one thing I do know, is that someone tried to hide it from us. The one thing we couldn't find. I didn't find a single suspicious thing in Mr. Coton's office. And that was your downfall.
Objection.
You didn't find anything suspicious at all. I highly doubt that. But I didn't. You can even ask the other men. I don't need to, for I found what you should have a while ago. Excuse me? In Mr. Coton's office, there were signs that someone had burned counterfeit bills there. What in the... Ay-ya! That evidence was something you found out through the girl's machine, right? So what if it was? Ah, that's what I thought. But unfortunately for you, a recreation made by a machine is hardly concrete proof. Among the ashes you found in the room, did you happen to find any counterfeit bills? No. You see? So there was nothing in the office. Nothing you can call evidence anyway. Objection! Speaking of things that you Interpol agents have missed, I did find one more. More pompous attitudes are necessary. All I require is the evidence. Very well. I'll show her the hidden piece of evidence that her and her fellow Interpol agents missed. I know what I want to do, and I want to do it just right. Oh yes, the wire. I'd like for you to take a look at this length of wire. And what exactly is that supposed to mean? The length of what? So what is it? What about it? I'll tell you what. We found this in the Ablaze embassy not long ago. What? And we found it wound up inside the grandfather clock in Mr. Cochin's office. You found that at the scene of Mr. Cochin's murder? So I think you'll agree now that I cannot trust you when you say that Interpol has thoroughly checked every room. And that this throws doubt on the purity of your investigation into the Yatagarasu. You still suspect me, I see. Alright then, I ask you to point out what part of my investigation is incomplete. The other Interpol agents worked under the command of Agent Sheena. And it is not possible that the reason for the person K was chasing chose the 3rd floor was because the person knew there would be no other agents on that floor. Furthermore, we've come to see that Agent Sheena was only pretending to be investigating the Yatagarasu to the point of arresting K. In that case, there is one location that no one has yet to inspect. It's complete because they failed to inspect the actual room! The location, Agent Sheena, is of course the room you claim to have examined. I believe the room next to Mr. Cochin's office warrants a thorough inspection. Even if you do that, I doubt you'll find anything of use to you there. I'll be the one to decide that. Detective Gumshoe. Yes, sir. I'm on it. I'll be right back to check out the room next to the office. Mr. Edgeworth? Do you really think that Miss Gina is the Yatagarasu? Yes, if my logic is sound, I believe she is. Then I'm not gonna let her get away with ruining the name of the Yatagarasu. Well, can you prove she's the Yatagarasu is the question. If Detective Gumshoe could find what I'm hoping he'll find, then I should be able to. And just what are you hoping he'll find? Let's say this. I had Detective Gumshoe do a little experiment for me earlier. An experiment? Is it that detective has a brains for high science? It wasn't that mentally taxing. I had him use the same escape route as the Yatagarasu. What did you find out by doing that? First, that it's possible for a person to fit through the revolving wall door. Second, that by going through there, his coat was covered in ash and Ablaze ink. Who cares what his coat is covered in? It's not worth that much anyway. Ah, but is it really worth so little? I believe it's actually quite a meaningful result. The value of which I'm about to prove. Edgeworth, I found some things you really need to see, sir. Oh, so what are these things that you found? Some makeup, a coat, and a pair of shoes, sir. Found a coat? Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth? Maybe it's the one the person I was chasing was wearing. The possibility does exist. Agent Sheena, were these a piece of evidence not in the room when you examined it? Unfortunately for you, those weren't suspicious items of any sort. They all belong to me. They were getting in the way, so I stored them in that room. Oh. Thank you for bringing them to me. It saves me a trip. May I have them back now? Hold it! Those items the detective brought back are incredibly significant. I request that we be allowed to examine them. They're my personal belongings, so you have no right to touch them without my permission. I wish to examine them for the sake of the investigation. But if you wish to deny us access to them, Agent Lang, let's hear your opinion on this. I say let them look at your stuff, Sheena. Lang! Sheena, let's put it all out in the open. If you're really innocent, then you have nothing to worry about, right? I guess so. Alright, go ahead and examine whatever you'd like. After all, I have nothing to hide. Good. Now let us begin. Which of Agent Sheena's belongings are you to examine, sir? We're examining the coat, of course. Examine the coat. Yes, sir. It appears you managed to stain your coat rather badly. Agent Sheena. The Yatagarasu that Kay saw was wearing a coat, and I'm beginning to wonder if this stain wasn't created when you went through the fireplace. No, you have it wrong. The soot probably got on my coat when I was helping the police out in the put out the fire. What about this dark substance around the hem of your coat? Oh, I didn't realize the hem was that dirty. I'm sure it's just some water mixed in with soap when I was helping with the fire. I don't think so. You can get away with such a transparent lie. Don't lie to us, pal. The same pattern as the dirt that I got on my coat when I went through the fireplace. It was being hollow in the absence of evidence, you know. So unless you can prove that the dirt in the coat is from the fireplace, which I can. Well, how? You did a great job, Detective Gumshoe. Me, sir? What'd I do? This coat. This is exactly the piece of evidence I was searching for. I'd been hoping to find the coat that the person Kay saw was wearing. And thanks to you, we proved that going through the fireplace would sully your coat. I didn't quite get what you're saying, but I'm happy for the praise, sir. All that remains is for us to show what the dark substance of the coat hem is. Oh, you think you can do that? Of course I can! This is the dark substance that sullied the hem of the coat. Nothing more than Ablaze ink. Ablaze ink? Yes, this is what will prove the coat went through the fireplace. According to Ambassador Polano, he burned some files in the fireplace this morning. You told us about that already, so I don't really see the point of mentioning it again. My point is that he spilled some ink into the back wall of the fireplace at that time. The dark substance of this coat turns out to be Ablaze ink. It would prove that you and this coat went through the revolving fireplace wall. Ah! So I'd have clipped one of your wings, Yatagarasu, but we're not finished yet. But you have no way of proving whether or not this is Ablaze ink on the coat hem. Oh, but I do, and I intend to show it is ink in a few seconds. How? How, you ask? Well, since you don't seem to know, allow me to show you. This is how I'll prove the dark substance in the coat is Ablaze ink. We burn it! You can find out whether that is Ablaze ink or not by lighting it on fire. That's how you're gonna prove that it's Ablaze ink? Yes. If you could please cut a section of the dark stained area for me, I'd appreciate it. Because I will show you here and now what the dark substance is. Sheena. Sorry to do this, but I'm gonna have to cut off video coat. Go ahead. I wasn't playing away anymore anyway. Well then, if someone could loan me a lighter or something. I got some matches. I was carrying around me with me light smoke bombs. If you could please have 1K, that would get this experiment underway. Behold! The flame! It's the same color as the flames which crystal oil produces. Which means... Ablaze ink is a product of white crystal oil. And when lit, the ink produces a green flame. I believe the time has come to clip the Yatagarasu's other wing. Hey, Miss Sheena, you're the fake Yatagarasu. The one who killed my father. It's about time you came clean, Agent Sheena. Or should I say, Callisto you. Hold it! Mr. Prosecutor, you're not serious, are you? Do I look like the joking type to you? Callisto you? I've never heard that name before in my life. The manner of speaking and that attitude, you haven't changed a bit in 7 years. You're the defense attorney that killed Mr. Faraday and tried to frame me for it! Oh really, and your proof? You insist that I'm this Callisto you woman, and you can't prove it. If you have no proof, then I'm afraid you won't be able to lay a single finger on me. Objection! The raven is a very unique bird, one that flies by the darkness of night. However, the light of dawn has arrived and will reveal your true ugly form to the world. Enough poetry, I want to see some evidence. Do you really have something that can prove that she's Callisto you? I do. It's something that the second Yatagarasu would preserve for us these last 7 years. Do me the honor, Mr. Edgeworth. I will, Kay. We have finally come to the end. We'll prove her to be Callisto you with this, to clip the Yatagarasu's wings for good. The one piece of evidence preserved. Take that! This perfume. This will prove you to be Callisto you. It will? Kay's preserved it perfectly for us. Surely you remember this bottle? This belonged to Miss Yu just before she disappeared 7 years ago. Naturally, this means that a few fingerprints are on her here as well. This is the bottle of perfume you spilled, which I have preserved ever since. I heard from my father, Bern Faraday, that if stored under the right conditions, a fingerprint can be preserved for decades. Which means that your fingerprints are still on here, every last one. We can clear everything up if we were to compare the prints on this to your own. Now come, Agent Sheena. Will you submit yourself to the fingerprint test? Well, we got her. It's like you've seen right through me yet again. Send the biggest chill on my spine, Edgeworth. Callisto, you. So you've shown your true face at last. This feeling of thrill. It's even greater than that time 7 years ago. Sheena, you're... Lang, I really enjoyed our time together. You're an insanely strong, nice, kind-hearted idiot of a man. You're a spy all along. A mole sent by the smuggling ring I've been chasing after. Someone who's been feeding them intel on Nepal all this time? Very good. Maybe you're not as big of an idiot as I thought. Callisto, you. When we killed my father 7 years ago. You're her, aren't you? The fake Yatagarasu. That's right. Callisto, you. That's just one of my many names. But even that is just a facade. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am the great thief Yatagarasu. Callisto, you, this time you won't escape. And this is the end of the road for you. Now come along quietly. You know, you're the one who left the strongest impression on me. Okay, Faraday. Had you not used the Yatagarasu's gadget, I might have never known who you were. But here you are, being a thorn in my side. Just like your father always was. Okay, don't! You. Never forgive you for what you did to my father! You really are just like him. Mr. Faraday, too, is that such laughable honesty? Okay! Okay, go right now, pal! Despicable. Go, you filthy... You think I'm a fake, don't you? Unfortunately for you, I'm the real Yatagarasu. That's impossible. My father was the one who created Little Thief. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth. Yatagarasu has 3 legs. Do you know why that is? Why does 3 legs? There are 3 main reasons that Yatagarasu is always one step ahead. First, Yatagarasu always knows the exact location of the target object. Second, Yatagarasu always knows exactly how to disarm a security system. No, it can't be! Did you finally figure it out? Do you really know the real identity of the Yatagarasu? The real identity of the Yatagarasu is... The real identity of the Yatagarasu is neither Bird Faraday nor Callisto you. But by the same token, they are both the real Yatagarasu. How very perceptive of you! No way! The single person known as the Great Thief Yatagarasu never existed. Mr. Edgeworth! No, I refuse to believe this! The Yatagarasu is known to have 3 special skills. Skill number 1. Yatagarasu always knows the exact location of the target object. And the lawyer would have the opportunity to learn the layout of clients' corporations. Skill number 2. Yatagarasu always knows exactly how to disarm a security system. And a good prosecutor would be well versed in the ways of a criminal. And skill number 3. Yatagarasu doesn't leave a single shred of evidence behind. Ever. Detective Bad! It's only natural for Yatagarasu to never leave evidence behind. Because the lead detective of the case hid it all away. You're the 3rd member of the Yatagarasu? You. I've been looking for you a long time. 7 long years I finally got you. Why, Mr. Bad? Long time no see. What happened to us? We had such a great team. You had such a great team. Why'd you kill my father 7 years ago? Why, indeed. It's nothing personal, really. It was just another person I had to kill. You say that? I grew weary of this, and it's about time for everything to come to an end. And this time I won't miss. Stop! You! Okay! knocked over, Sheena. Your leg! Agent Lang. You idiot. What were you thinking jumping in front of my gun like that? What are you risking your life for? Sorry, Detective. Bad. No matter what sort of past she may have had, or even if she is a spy, doesn't change the fact she's my subordinate. As long as she is, I can't allow any harm to come to her, not even from you. You really are an idiot, you know that. Fine with me. You should know by now that just how I am. Hey, sis. Yes? I need to conduct a full body search. She might have another weapon on her. Alright. Detective Gumshoe, your assistance, please. Sir. Round Zublin. What is it, sir? Looks like a blade of a knife. Doesn't have a handle. It's a great find, Detective. Huh? It is, sir. Let's try pairing up this blade with this handle.
Take that!
I believe this blade actually belongs with the handle that was found on the murder weapon. Let's fit it together perfectly! This blade must have taken from the crime scene when the knife handles were switched. I'm gonna go return this Babylese knife now. Alright. I trust that you'll make sure that it returns the Ambassador Paleno. Off that goes. I believe this makes it perfectly clear who did it. Callisto, you. For the only time the handles could have been switched is just after Mr. Cochin's murder. Which means that you must be Mr. Cochin's killer. You killed Mr. Cochin with the Alabastian knife, switched the handles, and then took the original blade of the Babylese knife with you. Later, you allowed yourself to be spotted by Kay near the open-air stage. You used the fireplace to lose her, and then you went back to accuse her of the murder. Does that sum it up? Objection! You crafted an engaging tale, Edgeworth, but there are two problems with it. Problems? In what respect? Why do you think my real reason was allowing her to chase after me? Hmm? It was also I could capture Kay Faraday. What? When I saw you using that device at Gatewater Land, I knew right away. You were Byrne Faraday's daughter. Became curious, so I researched a little into your background. That's how I found out that you were on the trail of the Yatagarasu. That's why you tried to pin Mr. Cochin's murder on me? Yes. I knew you would show up at the embassy tonight, so I thought to use you. But pinning the murder on you wasn't my only goal. You had another? Yes. Once I had you under arrest, I planned to search you and take back the device that rightfully belongs to me, the true Yatagarasu. You were going to take Little Thief away from me? 7 years ago, it was thanks to that device that Faraday was able to infiltrate this place. But he stole more than he should have. I've had enough time recovering this precious key. Then the person who stole the Yatagarasu's key was Mr. Faraday? Yeah. That isn't 7 years ago? What was the catalyst behind it? In the eyes of the smuggling ring, Yatagarasu was becoming a bit of a problem. But it wasn't an especially pleasant assignment. Then why? Why'd you become a member of the Yatagarasu? Why? There is no why. I was destined to betray everyone from the very beginning. For the beginning? What's that supposed to mean? The person I take orders from hasn't changed, even now to this day. Does this mean the leader of the smuggling ring wasn't Mr. Cochin? Then the real ringleader is still out there pulling the strings! Are you done asking why you need to know? Because if so, we should probably get going. And you're gonna tell me everything you did tonight. You understand, Sheena? I guess I should tell you then that I was the one who set Babal's embassy on fire. Why'd you do that? I suppose it was to destroy all evidence of the counterfeit bills. That was what the smuggling ring was trying to do. But then why start two fires? Sorry, but I can't tell you anything about the ring. It's your job to complete your investigation after all. I've had my fun. Now it's your turn to enjoy the ride. Wait! I mean, Miss Sheena. Yes. When I fell off the floor, these fell at my feet. What about them? They're such pretty hair sticks that I thought I should return them to you. You can have them. They're of no use to me anymore. If you don't want them, you can just throw them away. You can just throw them away. No, I want to keep them. See yourself. Oh, that's right. I almost forgot, Edgeworth. About the second problem I have with your story. I didn't kill anyone tonight. What? I'm not saying that as a sore loser. Think of it as a hint, if you will. Mr. Prosecutor. Yes, Agent Lang? Mark my words, I'm not done here and I will be back. It's got nothing to do with duty or anything, because this has become my personal case. I may have been shot, but I'll show you just how dangerous a wounded wolf can be. His anger appears to have negated the sensation of pain in his leg. He is still limping, though. It's finally over, Kay. I feel like I've peered into her heart a little, you know? It's so cold and dark. Incredibly lonely. The person who was giving her all these commands. The one who thought my father was a problem to be removed. That person is the real ringleader behind the smuggling ring. Mr. Edgeworth, I have a favor to ask. Can you hold on to these hair sticks for me? They're really pretty, just like the ones that are selling at the gym and ninja show. But until this case is over, I don't think I can look at them without being overcome. I understand. I'll take good care of them for you. There's a bit of soil stuck to the ends of these sticks. I guess that's the time already, huh? It's midnight. The dawn of another day. Hey, Pops. Thanks a bunch. You really done a lot for everyone all these years. Detective Bad, don't tell me today's the day. Yeah, it is. This, I can retire in peace. This down to the wire. We almost didn't make it. But we did it. We solved everything. That's just it. We haven't solved everything yet. The ringleader of the smuggling ring, you, the Yatagarasu, were chasing after. The legend of that Yatagarasu is now over. Mr. Edgeworth, a bit of logic earlier was brilliant. I feel like I can leave it all in your hands. I'm counting on you. Is it really true, Uncle Bad? Were you also part of the Yatagarasu? As I said to you earlier, okay, I'm truly sorry. I wanted nothing but a peaceful life for you. Uncle Bad. Don't take it so seriously. It's all just one big joke, right? Unfortunately, it isn't. Oh, come on, sir. You just yank at my jade. Didn't you see, Mr. Edgeworth? Detective Bad. Wait, no, you're no longer a detective. Mr. Bad, I'd like to ask you about the Yatagarasu. Not you too, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth, here, I should give these back to you. These are the pages from my KG8 case files the Yatagarasu stole from my office. Wait, what? Mr. Edgeworth, I must apologize last night. The Yatagarasu who stole into my room was you, was it? Wait, then that means... What? Tell me it's not true! That's too insane for me to believe, sir. It's true. Even if it's not something you want to hear. The KG8 incident is a very emotionally trying case. We stood in that dark courtroom. Faraday is the prosecutor, and I was the lead detective. Faraday had evidence in his possession that proved the defendant guilty. However, because it was stolen, the defendant was found innocent. You was the elder sister of the victim in that case. When the defendant was pronounced not guilty, she let out a great wail. That's when we really realized that there was a limit to what the law could do. And the way to bring someone like that to justice was to go outside of the courts. That's what we thought at the time. That's how we formed the Yatagarasu. We vowed to bring to light any dirty dealings companies have with the ring, including companies that dealt with Yamano Group. There's Yamano's conglomerate? We called ourselves the Yatagarasu and flexed our collective muscle. We exposed all sorts of shady dealings as a warning to the business world as a whole. By doing that, we're able to stop the higher-ups from covering things up. And then, it finally turns time. We finally arrived at the moment when we find out the ringleader's true identity. It was then that you literally stabbed us in the heart. And Faraday, he died for it.
But why? Wasn't she the sister of the victim in the KG8 incident?
After Faraday's death, I looked into her past. And that's when I found out she was a phony. The victim of the KG8 incident, CCU, she'd never had a sister.
What? Then that means...
Sheena wasn't the only fake name she used. Callisto U was just another pseudonym. From the very beginning, that woman was a spy sent by the smuggling ring.
Says her herself. I was destined to betray everyone from the very beginning.
Anyway, consider the real topic at hand. Miss Edgeworth, this trump card that we stuck into this page is the case file. Please use it wisely.
Trump card?
That photo that we stuck on there, try peeling it off. Behind it, there's a piece of evidence Faraday hid away all those years ago.
It's the mark of the Yatagarasu. But why?
This is a directives card. The big boss. Take a look at the back. There's something Koshin had on him at the time of this KG8 incident, 10 years ago. That's blood. Is the victim of the incident. Is CCU.
Why is the card adorned with the mark of the Yatagarasu?
The reason why we called ourselves the Yatagarasu was because of the three-legged raven mark that the smuggling ring's boss used. Apparently, orders of the boss come on these cards that fail. The person who received the order was supposed to burn it immediately after reading it. Apparently, it burns a bright green flame when it's ablaze.
Do you mean the cards were written in Bubbly's ink?
The fact that the card Koshin has sent made into Faraday's hand at all is nothing short of a miracle. We decided, whenever we stole anything, we would send a card along with it to the police.
So that's what those white cards are.
The great thief that used the mark, and only those within the ring would know. It was our message to the ringleader. That we were only a few steps behind. And one more thing, Detective Gumshoe. I'm entrusting this to you.
What's this, sir?
This is what I was talking about earlier. During the KG8 incident trial, Faraday had this in his possession. This important, definitive piece of evidence.
But I thought it was stolen. How do you have it?
The person who stole it from us 10 years ago was a man by the name of Ernest Amano. And he had it locked and hidden away for all this time. We forced him to tell us where it was finally, after all of the other day's kidnapping case.
His video. What? Don't go any closer! I'm warning you! The same video as the one Mr. Portman was trying to conceal from me.
Yeah, it wouldn't seem that even he was caught in the ring's web. Mono's prepared to take on the boss someday. And the video was his insurance. That's where the prosecutor comes in. He was to retrieve the video. On top of that, he was apparently instructed to sneak into your office and steal the trump card. You saw it for yourself, right? The card that told him to preserve the evidence?
Then that card was not the calling card of the Yatagarasu, but rather a directives card for the ringleader to Mr. Portsman?
The two pieces together make for a strong weapon for whoever holds them.
The evidence Mr. Portsman thought to withhold from me. And the one that you stole from my office last night. Both pieces are illegal for me, and for me to use either one is...
Whether
Whether you use them or not is up to you. But they will be of help to you. You take on someone who's above the law. Is the boss one of those who cannot be brought to court? Mr. Faraday spoke of? Detective Bad, there is no limit to the law, for it is the people who determine the limits to it. You still insist that even now? You really are something else. I leave the rest in your hands. Now then, Detective Gumshoe, the handcuffs. Time to lock up the last remaining member of the Yatagarasu. Pops, don't ever lose your detective spirit. Pops, why is this happening? This isn't justice! Like I always told you, do not get emotionally involved. Let's go. Yes, sir! Is this really the end of a legend? No, because it's to be continued, silly. Not quite done! Oh boy. This is on 64D. This is Let's Play Miles Edgeworth Investigations. See you next time. Because we need to wrap this up. Take care.